Easily, the question that I get asked the most about Gravity Well is where should it go in one's pedal chain? What you pair it with and where it's positioned will become a pretty powerful vector of creative control that you can have with this pedal. This is evidenced first and foremost by the flow switch on the Gravity Well itself, which controls the signal routing inside the pedal, letting you put the Wavefolder before the Tremolo or the Tremolo before the Wavefolder, which in and of itself produces some pretty strikingly different effects. If I were to recommend a good starting place for where to try it first on your pedal board, it would be to put Gravity Well as early in your signal chain as possible. And that's because the Wavefolder is extremely touch sensitive, way more so than a typical clipping distortion or fuzz pedal. And putting any gain pedals before Gravity Well will functionally compress the signal first, reducing that dynamic range and that responsivity. The one exception in terms of starting position would be if you aren't really using Gravity Well for its Wavefolder or refraction effects, and instead are primarily using it as a straight tremolo, in which case I'd give the exact opposite advice and say you should start with it at the very end of your signal chain, even after any reverb or echo effects. There's two reasons for this. The first is that this will most closely reflect the sound of traditional vintage tremolo amps. Vintage amps that popularized tremolo effects implemented it in the power section of the amp after most of the gain stages and after any built-in spring reverb tank. The second reason is just that tremolo will sound the most pronounced if it's put at the end of a signal chain and modulates the volume of all effects. Especially high gain or ambient echo effects placed after a tremolo will serve to sort of fill in the valleys that the tremolo produces, making the tremolo sound just much less pronounced. That said, that can also be really, really beautiful and subtle, and so it's worth a try. As with any pedal, there's no single correct position in your signal chain, and you should always just experiment and find whatever sounds right to you. But play around, use your ears, and never, ever let a web forum tell you how to position your effects. Enjoy the journey.